Greetings and a warm welcome to our show. I'm Julio Hernandez, your host, and joining me today is my esteemed co-host, Daniel Aguilar. We bring you a unique and insightful perspective into the world of entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship by featuring interviews with some of the most influential leaders across various industries and discussing the most talked about and controversial topics of our time. Get ready to be inspired, informed, and entertained. Today's topic is about self-auditing your life in business and also your personal life as well. I'll let Daniel go ahead and bring his ideas to this and kind of give us a overview of what we're going to be discussing today. So stick around, guys.
Yeah, sweet. So today's topic, like Julio said, is kind of conducting a self-audit in your life, kind of going over financials, what you're doing with your time, kind of finding those areas where you're going to definitely relieve some stress and kind of get back to feeling like normal. I know, we're always trying to stay busy. We always try to make excuses for things, but I think, getting down, really sitting down, writing everything down is definitely going to, relieve some stress once you start to identify where all these stressors are happening.
Okay. And so why the self-auditing, or why did you want to discuss this topic specifically?
Well, specifically for me, I was actually helping my brother out the other day, kind of just get back to, pointing in the right direction. He kind of shooed off, to the left, to the right. He really didn't have a sense of direction. So I think definitely the first step or step number one should be just sitting down, writing everything down that's going on in your life, whichever, like I said, financially, spiritually, whatever it might be, and see where you're at in life and see what you have to adjust to really focus and, get back on the right direction. So, and that kind of gave me an idea. And I was like, if he didn't know, I'm sure a lot of people don't really know where their financial status is or their relationship status or anything like that. So it just kind of gave me the idea to kind of bring some awareness into the topic and kind of discuss it.
Okay. Yeah. Sweet. Well, So do you want to start or?
No, yeah, definitely. So kind of my first thing I want to kind of go into is increasing your self-awareness when it comes to this specific topic. Because if you don't really know what's going on with your financials or your life in general, you have no idea what you're doing half the time. That's when you start getting where the time seems like it's moving so fast, and week after week you're still in the same spot, and you got to ask yourself, like, why is this happening? And most of the time we just really don't know what's happening. Pretty much it's kind of like taking a step back, relaxing, breathing, and really looking at everything from a bird's eye view.
Okay, so you're saying people really just are on autopilot most of the time and just kind of facing the day by day, essentially, is what I am extracting from that. Correct?
Yeah, exactly. So definitely living day by day, not really sure, in what direction to go. And like I said, sitting down, writing everything out is going to increase that self-awareness of what's going on in your life. You're going to know exactly, okay, I need to focus more on my job because I realize I haven't been paying as much attention. I have to make sure I study this. I got to make sure I do a financial audit and kind of see where you're sitting in life. And I'm not saying comparing yourself to other people, but definitely kind of seeing where other people your age and see where they're at in life, and really kind of picking and choosing some of those good, I wouldn't even call them benefits, but some of those good traits that other people, maybe a morning routine, or kind of just figuring out where you're at.
Yeah. The most recent, I guess, thing I can relate to this to would be my 3:30 a.m. routine. Completely life-changing, I will say. Very hard to get adjusted to, but it is definitely a self-audit of your time. I think most of us don't realize how much time we actually waste in a day, and how much, this could go into a lot of little micro issues too, of like finances, relationships, your business, scheduling, all that stuff. So we can go into a lot of topics on this. And how it relates to entrepreneurship is also, a lot of entrepreneurs, they fail in the first 5 years in business because of this self-auditing. I think this is one of the main things that people struggle with. plenty of other things as well. But yeah, definitely. And in entrepreneurship as well, I'm sure, like people leaving the companies too fast, not scaling, all of that stuff as well. Let me lower my desk real quick. Sorry. Trying to have it
a little too high.
Yeah. Seeing if it can help my mic here. Okay. Do you have the point specific, or I guess I'm kind of letting you guide this one, and then I'll try to chime in and go deeper as we're going.
Yeah, definitely. And, this is a quick, talk, something I just want to kind of cover on that. Second point that I have for this is improving your decision-making as well. So, for example, let's take financing, right? Or your finances, right? So a lot of people don't really know how much they're spending a month, where this money is going. Going back to that example of my brother, we did a full financial audit on him. How much money is he bringing in a month? What are his expenses? And you'll be surprised of the total that's left over. And when I asked him that question, I'm like, hey, where's all your money going? And he's like, I don't know. So, and then that kind of gave me that idea of like, man, this is a bigger issue than, most people realize, especially in this time and age. A lot of people don't even look at their bank accounts, throughout the day because they're just scared to see what's on your bank account. And that should be like your number one thing that you look at every single day if you're staying on top of your money.
Yeah, it is scary it's like a progress report, but like you get it every single day. I look at it every single day. Every morning I check, I don't start my day with that. I don't check until like around 8 or 9 because then all the payments get processed. But yeah, I wasn't doing that for a while. Now I obsessively do it. I have like set to a penny every single time a penny is spent. I get notified. So, either like it's $1. I'm like, oh, okay. It's just like, or $10. And then like, sometimes it's like $500 or $1,000. Like, oh my God. So definitely a good little tip for them there is to set up your banking and have it notify you for every expense over a penny. That's my little tip that works for me, I guess.
Do you think going into a penny is necessary? Like to the penny? I mean, I feel like that would kind of get
$1. I think I have it set to $1.
Okay. So $1 and then you get notified.
Well, I guess it's kind of like, okay, like, is it worth tracking your macros to the 150th gram? I guess it depends on how precise you want to be with your life. I think I just set it to that. It could be $5. It could be 10, but like if I get a Ghost, it's $3 at the gas station. So if I go buy a pack of gum, it's $1. So it's just really understanding the trend, I guess, of like my spending habits. So like it could be as low as $1. Like I don't know. I guess what else could be $1? Because I've had some fees out there that like I get pissed off. I'm like, why is there a fee for like this processing thing? So yeah, I don't know.
Sense. Do you feel like you spend a lot of money on random stuff, like on food? Like that's one of my biggest expenses sometimes. Like some months I'll just be like, where did all this money go? And just doing a quick audit, it's like Chipotle or whatever the food is, and just spending a lot of money on going out. That's definitely one of my biggest struggles because I love food and I'm going to spend money if I'm hungry, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an okay expense. So like, I think bad expenses are like going out to get drunk or like partying, and even then, like, I don't know who's to say that that's a bad thing either. I think it's just dependent on what you do. Like if you're getting Chipotle every day, but you're also clubbing on the weekends and also like spending a ton of money on Gucci bags, and yeah, I think it's a problem. But if like you're treating yourself to a $12 Chipotle burrito, I don't think it's the end of the world. But again, it's all relative to what you make. If you make $400 a month, it's probably not a good idea. It's just
exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the one that hits me the most is like those going out to the club, because I mean, one night of going out with some friends just to enjoy the night, $200, $300, $400 gone. Before you know it, it's like you wake up the next morning, you have a huge expense, and it's just pretty much vanished.
I have done that. Yeah, that's why I don't go back.
You've done that?
Yeah, that's why I'm not a fan of Vegas. But I think it depends. Like, I don't know. Like yesterday, I was talking to my brother, and he was like, him and his girlfriend were complaining about a trip we're taking in December for Christmas for 2 weeks, and it was like $1,600 for like a 5-star Airbnb, like in San Miguel, and like we have like a chef and everything. And I'm like, they're like, yeah, but like I could work and make money. And also, like, he's like, I'm gonna be gone, and it's gonna be a lot of money. I'm like, dude, you make $90K a year. Like, don't don't let your finances, like, don't be a cheap bastard. Like, just buy the trip. I think so. It's just a tool. It's like, again, it's all just a tool. It just depends. But yeah, dude, auditing your accounts is definitely. I think it's harder for self-employed because you have so many like hidden expenses that you don't know are coming. So like if I was on a salary, I feel like I would know, oh, this is exactly how much I'm going to make, and this is how I'm going to divide it. Where with window tinting, I mean, 1 month could be 30,000 and the next month could be 10,000. So it just depends on seasonality aspects as well as like the type of industry you're in. And, like right now, like everything going on with the economy and everything happening is just like very unpredictable. So I think the audit would be good to just know your close ranges. But again, it's harder for entrepreneurs, I think.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I can definitely see that happening, especially for, like you're saying, entrepreneurs not knowing what's really coming in at the end of the month. So it might make it a little bit more difficult, to really get those finances in order and know exactly how much is coming in every month. Like you said, some months could be 30,000, some months could be 10. So, I mean, have you found any, trick or tip that works for you when it comes to that? Like, how do you manage? Obviously, you want to stay open year round, but you have like a seasonal business. How do you manage? What tips or tricks do you use to kind of keep that money coming in constantly throughout the year?
Yeah, I failed at this for 6 years now, so it's not something that is not an easy solution, because I don't know. Like for me, it's simple. I guess the solution is very simple. Buy a van, and instead of servicing 400,000 people, open my market to 10 million, by just working in a 50-mile radius. So that's the easiest way to solve the problem. And we are planning on that. So we're planning on buying a Ford van in September, trying to pay it cash so I don't have a payment. But yeah, like that's the only way that we could like stay profitable and like really still make money in the winters. But also, like, I have my distribution, but again, there's also marketing expenses along with distribution. So yeah, like the average person probably has like maybe 15 to 20 consistent bills or consistent like charges, where with entrepreneurs it's like Google, Facebook, YouTube, like I have hundreds of statements. So yeah, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. I can see why people get a CFO, but it's like, okay, there's another expense, it's like, where does it end?
Yeah, so exactly. And they are not cheap. Definitely. I mean, that's years of experience, and they do not come cheap.
I've always thought about maybe just like literally doing it old school and like getting a little booklet and just writing every single expense down every day.
Just like a notepad?
Yeah, your income and expense. And then at the end of the week, maybe put it on a spreadsheet. Because if you use the apps, they're never that accurate. Like you'll pay for something and then like it won't get processed for like 2 days. So then like it's off, So.
Okay, you need that live data.
Yeah, I guess that's my direction in that. But self-auditing is not just finances though. It's also your health. Like, are you tracking how much food you're consuming? How much alcohol? How many times a week are you drinking? How many hours of sleep are you getting? That's a huge one. That I think has been my kryptonite the last 6 years.
Sleep?
Yeah, sleep. Like people don't audit their sleep. Like if you audit your sleep, like, are you using nose strips so you can breathe better? Are you like, I've seen guys, they tape their mouth. Are you taking like a supplement to help aid in going to bed on time? Are you drinking water too late that causes you to wake up and then now you're all groggy the next day? Are you having a consistent timeline of like wake up and sleep at the same time? So I think like all the multi-millionaires and billionaires, their sleep routine is like, it's spot on, I think.
I mean, you just mentioned like a lot of variables, like, what's the right way, or is is there no right way? It just depends how your body feels and kind of going from there.
There's data on like how to do this properly. So like, I think I sent you Tom Bailu's video. But like a lot of people talk about it, like a lot of entrepreneurs, like I love Christian Guzman, but that dude doesn't sleep. And I'm like, bro, like you gain like 10 years of life. Like he looks really fucking tired, like really tired
all the time.
Yeah. He needs to like really master like minimum 7 hours of sleep, I think is like healthy. But I mean, the World Health Organization is really saying that like jobs like firefighters or people who work night shift, people who have inconsistent sleep schedules, it's literally a health risk. So yeah, that's another form of an audit is your sleep. It's definitely extremely important.
No, I agree. And I'm not the best at it either. Some days you're just like laying there, it's 10 o'clock, you should be sleeping, but you're being distracted by your phone or, social media, scrolling through TikTok, YouTube. Like YouTube is not your friend at 10 p.m. It's like the worst enemy, because then you go down these rabbit holes and start just kind of, next thing you know, you're watching, some random person build a mud house or something,
Yeah. I mean, this could be an entire podcast on like how I'm at, because I'm trying to do the 30 days straight of waking up at 3:30.
Bro, that's
because
insane.
dude, it sounds insane, but bro, like there's a whole tribe of people outside the gym door at like 3:58 just waiting for the person to open the door. I'm like, oh my God, you guys are all maniacs. Either you're all maniacs, but dude, they're all killers though. Like they're all like,
exactly.
Every single one that I know personally, they're like really successful, or they're like doctors or like really high end like business owners. I'm just like, damn. And they don't talk. They're just there to work out. So I'm like, all right. Yeah. And they're like, fuck, they saw me and they're like, he only comes for like one day and then disappears.
It's a test run. No, but I'm definitely excited to see, kind of your review after 30 days, like see how you feel like health wise, like do you feel more accomplished throughout the whole month? Obviously you're gaining so many extra hours of time, that's definitely going to compound throughout the year, the weeks, even the day.
It's definitely why I think these guys become super ultra successful, especially in the service industry. We don't have like the luxury of like being like on a computer 9 to 5. So if I had kids, this would be actually the same exact schedule I would have, because none of my kids are going to be up at, unless they're babies, at 3:30 in the morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Like, there you go. Get your workout in, get your, obviously like I don't check my phone at all. I've managed to like, I turn off my phone. I turn off, like I don't check I get up. I already have my workout gear picked. I grab it and I'm out the door. I get up at 3:30. I'm at the gym by 4. I get a little coffee before, like make a little quick espresso, and then I'm on the way. I'm like 5 minutes from the gym. So it's super fast. So, but again, like today I edited 4 videos. I did all of my SMS and stuff, like everything I had to do, essentially everything. I even had time to go walk the dogs. I did all of my everything. I finished almost all the stuff, and now we're filming a podcast. But if you look at like the top guys that are doing this, like that's why they get so much more done, because they just have more time. It's like,
yeah, I mean, and that makes sense. Do you ever feel like you get to a point where you're even maximizing your time even more? Maybe even having a home gym and a sauna and everything you like. So as soon as you wake up, you're already getting started. There's no like delay. There's nothing holding you back from, getting started.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But the setup I want is like 100,000. So
only.
Yeah. Cause it's not just, like build a home gym. Like you got to build like a thing to be able, like you got to build, there's permits involved, and like, you got to like 3D design it, and you got to run plumbing and like electrical, and then you got to build the frame. And yeah, like the plan I have is going to be a sick video for YouTube. I'm documenting that, but yeah, I'm talking about, that's $100,000 project. That's a big, and the equipment, all that stuff. So 2025 is the plan for that. We're waiting on it. Right as of right now, I'll pay my $30 membership at the gym.
Yeah, I mean, good thing it's close. So I know you keep talking about 2025, and I'm like, dude, I feel like you have some like huge plans coming for that year. It's like you're getting ready. It's gonna make a huge change.
Yeah, definitely just capture more of my time back. I told her, I was like, we grinded our 20s so we can enjoy our 30s. Like, we didn't do that for no reason, you know? Like, I didn't go
I
to a
mean,
4 year. So,
yeah, exactly. And yeah, I
exactly.
mean, even Adriana, she's grinding as well. I mean, she's trying to figure out better ways to kind of like market her services and provide more value to like, customers and stuff. So I definitely see that probably takes up a lot of your time.
Yeah, but right now, and like my dad will tell me too, he's like, right now that you can, like, focus on paying off all your debt. As soon as you pay off all of your debt, you are a free man, you know? So like,
Do you feel like you have chains on you trying to fly?
no, because like a lot of people would say like, oh, don't get yourself into debt. But the thing is, like, if I was not in debt at all and I was just profiting consistently, like, my brain wouldn't have to solve these bigger problems. So like, I would just be like kind of coasting. So I don't know. I've seen guys that have no debt and they have like maybe like a truck payment or minimal stuff, and they don't really find creative ways to pay things off. So I think when you're
Okay.
stressed and against the wall, you come out with creative ways to pay things off, and you find ways to get out of the hole.
So you're
So
saying you're basically saying when you're in the struggle is when you develop the most, I would say, skills or
oh
kind
yeah,
of creative ways, like you're saying, instead
yeah,
of
like
just
not making
coasting, being comfortable.
exactly like not making money for 6 months out of the year or breaking even. Like, you would, yeah, it's stupid, you know, like, it's like, that's a terrible business model, you know, like what company would say that that's a good business model? So yeah, it's like, but because I'm coasting in a way, like I'm making money in other ways, I'm like, I don't really care. But at the end of the day, the dude who has $0 in his bank account or his last $500, he's like, I'll tint anything, anywhere. Like, I'll just whatever I got to do, and that's how I was at first. So yeah, getting that fire back is definitely important, because I would tint in literally like parking garages in San Francisco, or wherever I could find a job. And now I'm like, I don't know if that's worth it. But that also, I put my time in other things. So I definitely think there's like levels to it for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess this all looped around because you asked, what am I going to do with the seasonality aspect of the business? So yeah, a van, but and is great for content. So
No,
not
that
fun to
makes
do.
sense.
Yeah.
No, right. Yeah. So that kind of takes me to my next point is like how we're saying, you could have someone that finds creative ways, takes on new challenges, kind of developing their skills. You're going to develop a lot of stress compared to someone who's just coasting, maybe making minimum payments, living comfortably. They're not going to have as much stress. So kind of like going back to the point of like auditing your life, that's going to definitely reduce some of that stress because you're going to be able to hit and target these areas that you need work on it and hit them hard and really focus on those areas. And eventually that compounds over time and, you become a little bit less stressed, I would say.
So how do you approach it from an entrepreneurship perspective?
Well, for me, we definitely have a business that we got to run and a really successful business, and we need to operate and make decisions quick. And we got to be able to, make financial decisions on the fly. So I got to make sure like I don't have any outside stresses, that's also like kind of hindering my performance at work. So that's why for myself, like, self auditing myself, seeing what, makes me happy. I know going to the gym really brings up my mood. And if I'm in a good mood, I'll perform better at work. So just kind of making sure your life is pretty good to go. So that way you could translate that into top performance when you're, working. But as far as like more of a personal side, I acquired so much debt, I think 750,000 in debt, which is not a good feeling. I mean, I'm sure it's like, how do I pay this off as fast as I can? Interest, like, oh, you have a 15-year mortgage, a 30-year mortgage, like you're saying you want to pay off debt as soon as you can. And that eventually is going to release a lot of that stress, a lot of that weight on your shoulders, pretty much.
Yeah. And there's different approaches. I know there's guys who are like leverage your debt and they want more debt. So that like both of our debts, we don't have to pay it off. Like,
true.
Technically they're being paid by tenants, or your goal is to have them paid by tenants. So I could be dead in 30 years. So I'm not, like it's not the end of the world. But again, like, because we put that pressure, and again, like this could be something that we look back in 5 years and be like, why were we even stressing about paying off a 30-year loan? Like
True. No,
like
I agree.
Yeah. So I try to, that stress was uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable, but now I'm trying to like not think about it as much, because if all you think about is the money, then you're not thinking about creative ways to like get better at your craft. Cause like if you get better at what you're doing, it's going to lead to more money, which will lead to more numbers in your bank account, which will lead to you being able to move those numbers to pay the company that you owe money to. So,
and ultimately less stress, for sure.
Ultimately less stress. Yeah. Unless you have like some gambling addiction or something crazy, like you should.
Oh,
yeah. So yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways I can go, but yeah, I think like for me, it was like, okay, like what makes me more money, right? Like if I buy a van, I could take more cars in the winter, then I can literally maximize my money throughout the whole year. If I have a van, I can work and do commercial and residential jobs. I don't have that right now. If I make 800 YouTube videos in a year with, every year make and model of a car, that's 800 fishing nets or fishing lines that'll be out there for people to buy my courses, or buy my products. If I learn Facebook ads and Instagram ads and get better at it, then I'll be able to reach more people who can buy my products and buy my courses. So it's like, how do you leverage the key things to make more money? So, and again, I'm still learning all this too. It's kind of like, what you're supposed to do with your time. It's just most of us avoid it because it is a lot of work. So
no, definitely.
Yeah. So, waking up earlier, I have more time to do all those things, and it's easier. It's harder to avoid it when you wake up that early. Like, oh no, I should probably do this. This is
exactly.
It's a lot of work.
Really. Yeah, I know. But yeah, you're talking about all these different sorts of or creative ways that you thought of to bring income. Is there like any, I wouldn't even say formula, but like how do you know if something's working? Or like, do you change things over time? Do you change things constantly, see what works, what sticks, and then kind of move on?
I mean, it's always been the center, like the focus. Every time I got off of what I was good at, I always ended up in a bad place. So I would say stick to what you're good at. So like for me, it's like I try to, sell a Google Ads course, but it didn't work because it's way too competitive in that market. And there's guys who have been doing it way longer than me. But my film company ended up doing really, really well this last month as well. So it's like, just look at, why would I keep pushing the thing that wasn't going well? You know what I mean? It's like literally, it's like going on a date with two different girls and you're trying to see which one to date. You're like, okay, well this month, this chick barely responded back and this other girl is like super cool and we got along. They're both pretty equal, but I like this one better. And this one has better results. I guess so like
invest more time in this one.
Yeah. Invest more time into the one that's giving you back, like which one is scalable, which one do you see yourself committing to for a long time? And also like Google Ads, I love it, but it's like, it's hard to scale that forever because AI is coming out and all that stuff. So the service industry is still needed. Like AI won't replace window tinting.
True.
So yeah, I mean, and yeah, so I think it's just like which one makes the most sense with your skill set. But again, other guys are like, oh well, find the $1 million idea. It's like we don't always know what that is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like you have to get someone lucky to have like those Amazons, those Facebooks, like the right period of time needs to come along, the right group of people, and a lot of things have to line up for you to have like this multi-million-dollar business idea that nobody has, thought of pretty much.
Well, back when you were an entrepreneur, let's say you're doing, I don't know, what was like an average month?
Probably between 8 and 12 on really busy months. Like, we're talking about several cars per day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week sometimes.
Okay. So like in theory, if you put every single dollar of that away, you would be a millionaire in like 20 years after taxes.
Maybe. Yes, I agree.
Okay. But if you were to double it, right? If you were at $20,000, like if you doubled your clientele just by working in a bigger area, you would have, you technically could have, if you kept your personal expenses really low. So that, I guess what I'm trying to say is like the mobile tinting, if I could rewind and be like, all right, instead of all these investments I've been doing over the last 5-6 years, if I just would have stayed in my van and just tinted cars all year, every year, 6 days a week, I probably already would have been a millionaire. But all these shiny objects and distractions are the problem that most of us face.
Okay. But do you think you would have stuck to it for those 5 years?
If I had the support, if I knew, it's hard to know, I can't. You don't think about that when you're starting.
I mean, that's the thing about that. And, when I was detailing, kind of just getting into business is, some months it's hard and you get really demotivated, to go out there. There's no leads incoming. You're trying to figure out what's working. Do I got to call these type of people? Like, do I need to update my prices? And it's really challenging to kind of take on all these things with no professional help, I would say. So that's kind of one of the things I saw. And same with detailing is like, I don't know if you think about it, but there's no huge, big company, right, that's focused on detailing. Like there's no like 5-star company that's like, okay, this is the pinnacle, this is the image, this is what everybody strives to be like. So there was
Ceramic Pro, but they're more of a product.
Yeah, they're more. They more. I feel like they turn more into a product, and I feel like a lot of these companies that start off like that, like chemical guys, they start selling products because they're the supplier, and they know that's where they're going to make the most money by providing supplies to all these detailers.
Yeah.
So, probably for me, getting out was definitely a great decision. At that time, I did, made my money back, sold everything, and kind of went into a different route with real estate. But I don't think personally I would have stuck with it for 5 years, even though I was making that type of money, because definitely a lot of hard work. It's not easy. It's not easy getting up, going out there. It's hard to find people who actually want to do the work. And even if you're paying very well, level of entry is really low. So it's a lot of competition as well.
Yeah, I guess more so what I meant by it was, in theory, if you were to be a guy who was like amazing at window tinting and you just had a van and you were in the right geographical location, you could be a millionaire in like 5 years.
Oh yeah. I mean,
really smart about it.
I bet it's like zero overhead. You pay off what you need and you're just grinding as many jobs as you can, as fast as you can. I'm sure, you'll be a millionaire like ASAP.
Yeah. Do a couple houses a week, couple commercial properties and fill it with auto. Yeah. That's what we're doing. That's going to be a whole series on the channel in the winter, or going into the winter. But yeah, is this way too off topic of what we're talking about? But I mean, it ties in with like auditing your life, right? It's like, if you don't, like, I know this, right? I know that I should have bought a van. And like every day I kick my ass about it. I'm like, why didn't I just like struggled every winter for no reason, because everyone else is like, no, mobile's bad. Mobile's this. I'm like, dude, that's how I started. That's how I started. I know I already knew, but because of laziness or, thinking that better, you don't do it. So that's one of the things that I realized was pretty dumb. That's like Safelite. Imagine if Safelite never went out to do mobile repairs.
Yeah, I mean, they're huge now. I mean, you see trucks driving down the highway, like commercials on TV. I was surprised, like, going from such a small company to a big corporation like they are now. Yeah,
exactly. And that's another thing too, is like, well, instead of just doing window tinting, why don't you also do glass repair? You know what I mean? Like, that's a second income during the winter if you really, really, really wanted to. Again, completely different service. But my point is that there are ways, if you audit your personal business, and like, okay, where am I missing? But again, like the 9 out of 100 companies, I guarantee you, like maybe 1 to 5 are tracking, like, how much money they're making and how much they're spending. It's very difficult. Like, only the Fortune 500 companies and these multi-million-dollar guys with CPAs are actually doing it right.
No, yeah, exactly. And to kind of add on to that point real quick, I don't know how we're doing on time, but I went to pick up my brother where he works. He works for a small business owner here in the town where we live. And just kind of talking to him, he was kind of explaining to me all the struggles they're going through during the winter time, all this rain, there's no people. And as we continue to talk, he started explaining to me like, hey, like he does everything. He doesn't outsource everything. And we had a one-on-one conversation, and we really like got down to all the details, I would say. And, a lot of these like small business owners don't really know how to properly do things. They're really stuck in their old school ways, compared to a company that's killing it because they figured out these processes and their systems to kind of expedite their growth, bring in more revenue, do more sales, whatever it might be.
Yeah. I think cash is king. The more money you have, the clearer you can think. So that's number one, is making sure you have the capital to even like sit down with the proper accountant or have the right softwares. Yeah, dude, there's a whole bunch of stuff we can go into. What was the next topic?
Yeah, so the next topic as well is just improving your relationships as well, kind of going back into that, doing a self audit. When I did mine, I kind of realized that, I was kind of not isolating myself, but more like I was keeping more to myself, kind of just in that grind mode, which, eventually it's like, man, like I'm not hanging out with my friends. I'm not hanging out with my girlfriend as much because I'm so worried about this. I want to make sure this gets done. And you just got kind of get rolled into this never ending cycle because there's always like stuff to do. So really identifying everything, kind of trying to figure out solutions to, maybe if that's the case, you're not spending too much with your friends, try to, clear up your calendar and make more time to kind of spend with your friends, stuff like that.
Yeah. So you're saying self-audit your relationships with family and friends?
Yes, exactly as well. Because they're really important, especially the people that support you and really want you to be successful or whatever the case might be. It's always good to go back and try to, show some love and really spend some quality time with them, sister, brother, whoever it might be, because, you never know. Tomorrow is like never promised or anything.
Yeah. So I told my brother about the trip to Europe. I'm like, dude, trip to Mexico. I'm like, okay, you're valuing $1,700 over a 2-week experience with your family and friends who you never know. Your dad or mom could pass away next year. And you're going to be like, yeah, but at least I have $1,700. It's like, come on, dude. It's like, I did that when I was younger. He's your age. So yeah. Not that I'm so much older, but I did that when I was his age. I missed a trip to Europe, paid, literally paid. And it was a month that my parents got for free because there were EF tours. And once you get a certain amount of students, you can bring your show. Yeah, you can bring people. So I said no, because I'd listened to this motivational guy who said that you should not be taking a vacation until after 10 years of being in business. And because I didn't want to miss 1 month of work, I missed this trip to Europe. And it was like 30 countries or 14 countries or something like that, something crazy like that. So yeah, you're right, dude. Do not miss out on events like that for, money. So
yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah, going back to the old term is like, money always comes back. Money is replaceable. Time is not. Friendships are not. So it's really, finding that right balance. Picture on Instagram about like 7 million people, men between the age of like 22 and 25 are not working right now.
Yes. So that was from Chris Williamson, his tweet, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's freaking insane. It's like,
I mean,
for example, go ahead.
My last employee, I offered him a job on the weekends to work with me, or I think like Fridays and Saturdays, for $25 an hour, essentially. And he said no, that he's got a dream to pursue, and he's in like the financial investment, like not even like I don't want to call it companies, but the financial like on entrepreneur bullshit. Like, hey, get your friend, sign them up, sign up 10 of their friends and all that stuff. The multi-level marketing. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's just wild. But I mean, I don't know. I think, well, what are they doing? I don't understand. How can they, I mean, 7 million is not that much if you think about it. Like, we have 330 million people. 7 million losers scattered across. I mean, not, by the way, I'm not calling anyone that worked for me a loser. I'm calling the 7 million who decide not to work. I believe he's still working right now, but regardless, he's pursuing something. But what are these 7 million guys doing? Just chilling? How are they surviving?
I mean, they might be. I mean, I read onto that post and kind of did a little bit of due diligence on that. And I mean, they're living off of welfare, kind of government assistance, like just tax dollars, basically.
It's an unsolvable issue. There's just some issues that are unsolvable. I'm big on that. It's like a lot of people want to like solve these huge humane things, and it's impossible. It's impossible because what are you going to do? Like force them to work, you know?
True. I mean, if there's loopholes anywhere, there's definitely going to be people trying to, extort or take advantage of the system, whatever the loophole is. There's always people like that. So I agree. Some issues can be solved.
They can't. And think about this is like, okay, we have a social credit system, right? So for example, to live in my neighborhood, you have to work, right? You have to pay your taxes. You have to have a good credit score. You have to show that you're trustworthy to the banks. I can live in this safe neighborhood because I did it, right? Because my social credit system score. And those guys will never be able to live in a safe neighborhood unless they maybe marry someone that lives in a safe neighborhood. So there is a repercussion to not living in a safe neighborhood. That means your kids are going to grow up in the ghetto. Your life's going to be in the ghetto. But at the same time, it's like, look at history though. Like, how are we going to solve this? Because it's a generational like curse that if our parents raised us to be like norteños, and like we're gangsters and cholos and we always saw drugs and hookers, and we wouldn't be on this podcast, I agree. So it's generational problems, and I don't know the solution. I think that, like what Jordan Peterson say, make sure your home is taken care of before you go out to try to solve the world's issues. Like if your home's not in order, then you probably shouldn't be out preaching to tell people how they should be living their lives.
Yeah. I mean, that makes perfect sense. I feel like you would need to have going back to that point, you need to self-audit yourself. You got to make sure you're on top of your game before you can go out and do any sort of, community service or trying to fix something that, it's been going on for generations and generations, Yeah. And it all starts with the family, your relationship with the family, how, there's some people that kind of get their families out of that, they're really rare, special. They grew up on that area. They're really talented with music, sports, education. They're really gifted, with something, and they kind of get that. But those are, very few that come from that. So,
yeah, I think that's the beauty of it is that you still have a choice. Like you always have a choice. But again, it's hard, man. That's why you gotta be careful who you marry, who you let your kids hang around.
Exactly.
All that stuff matters. Like I was looking at I watched a podcast of an interview with the CEO of Expel. And Expel is a $200+ million company. This guy is just a normal, calm. He's like introvert. And guess what he's into, bro? Cycling.
What?
Cycling and aviation. Cycling and aviation.
Oh, okay. I mean, those are pretty cool. I mean, sports. I mean, you probably need a lot of money to get to aviation.
Yeah, one right there. That's cycling. That is an aviation book. And I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, man. And it's not just CEOs. It's like people who are just like looking for the better things in life. You just start to think of those things like, oh, a plane means I could travel to cool restaurants anywhere,
True. I mean, you could take a flight to SoCal, be there within, less than 2 hours.
Yeah. And I think that's self-auditing as well. Imagine if the CEO of Expo was like obsessed with like hookers and like cocaine and like, you know what I mean? Like that company would struggle. So, or if he was like super out of shape, beat his wife, like, it's just not practical. It's not.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's bringing us to our last topic, kind of that spiritual self audit.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't want to talk about religion or anything like that, but I feel like it's somewhat important as well, to have like a guidance or a guiding system in your life, something you just kind of follow or aspire to be like, keeps you in the right path and keeps you, away from the hookers and the alcohol and everything else. You need some direction. And I've met a lot of successful people that, Brad Lee, who's all into God, and he's like, all about it. He follows it, Derek Fay. So a bunch of these people have like this, I don't want to say an idol, but someone they follow for direction and guidance, through life, someone they could speak to. Because you can't just speak to anybody about certain issues in your life. You gotta, reach out and have a conversation with yourself and whoever you decide to get that guidance from, I would say.
You can tell therapists a lot of things.
True. But I mean,
by law, unless you kill someone, they can't tell anyone. Yeah, like you can't. I mean, obviously they can, like if they want to,
Mm-hmm.
But I remember I spoke to a therapist once, and she's like, "Is it wrong though? Is that actually wrong? Who says it's wrong?" I'm like, I don't know if it's wrong anymore. Now that I'm questioning it, just they make you think deeper about certain topics. But yeah, I mean, with religion, I don't want to say I'm atheist, but I'm still not sure what I believe in. I'm Catholic, raised, but like we went to church like once every we'd go like on Easter, and I would mainly just check out the chicks. So it wasn't a very. When I was little, I'd fall asleep in the chair.
No, I mean, but yeah, even if that's the case, it's like, just finding someone you aspire to be, or kind of find that they have the good, similar core values as you, and kind of just help you, guide you through life, I would say. I feel like religion has definitely declined in the, last couple of years. I mean, I remember growing up, that was like the Sunday activity. Like we're going to church. What was that?
The hypocrisy in the church, I think, is what scares people.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like the priests. Like, why are there so many pedophile priests?
Well, yeah, I mean, exactly. You get all these stories, and now it's like, people, like you're saying, they're scared or they don't know what to think. I mean, these people are supposed to do right by God, and obviously that's not happening. And
yeah, because even like super spiritual guys, man. I mean, and maybe aside from the monks, but like you look at like these guys who would like do like crazy drugs and like are supposedly like these like their soul is free, and like they're just into like crazy shit. They're like into orgies and like polygamy, and like they just get so off the deep end. You're just like, okay, that's what being spiritual is like. I'm okay. And then you go to like the Christian or Catholic church, and it's just like, I don't know. I maybe my experience is not the best, so I don't want to speak on religion, but I do hope that there's something. I still my ears are open, my eyes are open to it. I just it hasn't been a need for me, but I do think that we should have some commandments to follow. I do think that's extremely important. And honestly, if I was religious, I probably would have been out of a lot of the trouble I got into. So honestly, if I would have known. Now I'm like, well, even if there is nothing after, I just want to make sure, like I just want to make sure that I can go up there and be like, you know what? Yeah, I did all that bad stuff, but like, look at all this good stuff I did, like look at all this great stuff.
Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, the more you think about it, like, is there really obviously people have morals, and everybody's morals can be different. you know? So what's stopping us from being wrong or right? So I feel like there's no right answer to some things.
Yeah.
You know, because one person might do it differently, and for them, in their eyes, they think it's okay and this is how it should be done. But in my eyes, that could be completely wrong. And I could be like, what is that person doing? Whatever it might be. So I feel like there's no really right or wrong answer, just following that guide and seeing what they would do. You know, putting yourself in their shoes and be like, what would that person do? That's how I see it.
It's important because if every human just acted on every impulse that they had, it would be a very dark world. So, yeah, there needs to be order in society. It would be chaotic.
Have you heard about the intrusive thoughts and how they're natural, or they're like part of your brain's function?
In what aspect? Like, example?
Like, you ever go down the road and be like, oh, I wonder if, you know, I swerved to the other lane?
No.
So,
I mean, that's a very extreme.
No, exactly. So
No,
that's like an intrusive
driving into another vehicle.
No, so that's an intrusive thought, right? So apparently, like, people have these all the time, and it's a completely normal function of the brain. It's just your brain kind of checking up on you, making sure you're good. Like, people have intrusive thoughts, yes. So it's like, oh, what would happen if I jump off this cliff? Obviously, you're gonna die, but your brain thinks about it. You know, like, what would happen if?
Yeah, I've never thought about that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You want to know another fact?
What was that?
Oh, keep going. I think you hadn't finished that. What was the last part?
No, I was just gonna ask if you ever had any thoughts like that, like, you know,
about killing myself. No,
well, not really killing yourself, but like something intrusive, like, you know, like, I mean, it could be anything. Like, oh, what would happen if I stick this fork in the freaking?
I mean, yeah. I've looked at something like, but I don't know. I'm more of like a scaredy cat with a lot of things. So I'm like I'm not a daredevil, you know, like I'll do things that like require a little bit of like, you know, like risk, but like speeding, like, no, I don't speed. I don't like to jump off things or do backflips. I'm like, yeah, if I do a backflip, like, yeah, it'd probably be cool for like half a second. And then like, what if you fall on your neck and die? So it's like, sure. I don't know if that relates to that. But yeah, no, I truly believe the guys that are like psychopaths, they just didn't develop. Their brain didn't develop. And guys jumping off these air balloons, I'm like,
they missed an update.
Dude, no, I swear there is something to do with a part of their brain that forgot to install the fear of like death, because it's a safety mechanism. Because if that person, so that mechanism is to basically keep your genetic gene going forever. So like, you think of these MMA fighters, they're literally going there trying to kill each other. So it's so unnatural to the human instinct to go fight someone for no reason. Like, it's a fight or flight response, you know? So it's like people who've done that, they have more of like that fear is not fully developed. I think.
Not true. Do you ever notice how some of these things that we do now in today's life is somewhat similar to what people did in the past? So example, like UFC, people would show up to an arena to see someone fight. And that's what we do now, but in a whole different format. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like chicken fighting. It's like rooster fighting. Like,
true.
It's like dog fighting. People still do that. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, I understand martial arts, but I'm just like, at the end of this, like, you're getting paid to like fight someone. And like some of these accidents that happen in these fights, it's like, dude, their ears are destroyed permanently, their eyes, their vision, their nose, their teeth.
Trauma to the brain.
Yeah. I'm like, is it worth it? I don't know. Like, I don't think it's worth it, because I mean, you look at like even these pro fighters, they don't speak normal ever again. So,
I mean, some of that could be, you know, for the fame, or, you know, they're on the spotlight, you know, maybe they got something to prove. They want to be known, you know, to be the best of the best. I personally wouldn't do that again, you know, not my cup of tea. But for other people, it might be their livelihood, you know?
Yeah. Well, someone has to. And like I saw what Matt was talking about this, and he was saying that it makes sense to have psychopaths in a tribe. Like if you go and pillage a village, you don't want a bunch of people who are like conscious of what they're doing. You know, you want like 20% of those guys or 10% or 5% to be complete psychopaths that just go in there and just don't feel anything. They just go in, do what they have to do and get out. And they don't feel anything, but it's better to have them on your team than on the other team.
Yeah. Know? I mean, that makes sense. Yeah. Another example that I could kind of think of is kind of like theater. You know, back then people would show up to the theater to watch a play, entertainment, and that's what movies are today. You know, it's kind of just evolving, same practices, you know, religion, but different generations, I would say.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. I mean, dude, we're still monkeys. Like we're not that smart. Some of us are just a bit better off than others. But I mean, dude, like we are so like uncivilized compared to what we really, what we think we are. But yeah, no, it's this is how podcasts go off on tangents, because it's like we're somehow talking about apes and stuff now. So
yeah, I know, completely off topic, but yeah, I mean, I like doing this, kind of going having a conversation and getting some details. But yeah, that's pretty much all the, you know, topics I wanted to cover and kind of just bring some awareness to. I know we went on a bunch of tangents, but I think just if people take anything away from this is, you know, sitting down and really identifying everything that's going on in your life, and that's gonna, you know, greater or accelerate your learning or where you want to be in life. You know, really taking brain of the horse and, you know, just being ready, being prepared.
Start small too, right? So like, I guess actionable items would be first, like, where do you live? Like, look at your room. Even if you live in a shitty house, shitty neighborhood, wherever, your room needs to be organized. Like, everything, not like, oh, there's nothing on the ground, but then you open the drawers and there's a fucking mess. Like that bugs me so much. that bugs me so much. Like, cause it's like, okay, yeah, you're hiding the chaos. So
yeah, exactly.
Your drawers, declutter your life, then move to your car, right? Clean your car, maintain it, keep it clean. Make sure your entire house is good. Like, make sure you've cut your lawn, that your grass is good, that you've finished these side projects. Make a list of all that stuff. Once you've accomplished all of that, then you can start to think of bigger ideas.
Yeah. Get the low hanging fruit and start there. Start small, keeps you motivated.
Do the dollar thing, guys. I'm telling you that it helps a lot. It's terrifying because like now every time I get a notification, I'm like, shit. Like, what did I get charged with now? You know,
like, I mean, you probably have like hundreds of bills though. I could only imagine. You know, I maybe have 7 bills I got to pay at the end of the month. Yeah, 7. Yeah, but I did an audit. I cancel like a bunch of subscriptions, like Netflix, like shit. I didn't, you know, Netflix. I did. I had to, man.
What do you do with Kerrigan on a Friday, Saturday night? You guys just don't watch. What do you make her watch YouTube?
Sometimes.
Come on,
no, she has a Netflix account.
She's sparking the bill on that one.
No, she has a Netflix account, but you know, there were just random subscriptions I had for PS4 online, just random shit that I haven't played video games in maybe years, I would say.
Yeah, Truebill. I use that app, Truebill. I mean, dude, the audits scare me during the winter because I'm like, I already know the mistakes I'm making. This is just making me feel way worse about it, you know. But like a debt calculator, like for example, I have my entire debts on a whiteboard, so I can come in the office and look at it every single day, and it does not let you forget. And every month I go and I check off the bigger ones that I've, you know, like if one was 2,000, now it's at 1,700, then I, you know, put 1,700. There's an improvement. And those little dopamine hits are amazing. Of like, oh, dude, I finally paid off this card. I finally paid off this thing. So identify all of your everything that you owe for sure. And again, this is for both entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. And you know what? A big one, a file cabinet, an organized
file cabinet or a safe. I mean, no, file cabinet.
It's both. Yeah, both, right? Like, I mean.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess like for a passport, maybe.
True. Or if you have your loads of bags of cash, you need a safe.
Yeah, I don't carry any cash. I have like $20 in cash.
Yeah, everything's digital now. It's just numbers.
Yeah.
At this point.
Well, all right, Daniel. Well, I think we covered quite a few things. And yeah, this was a good episode. And these are more relaxed, you know, there's not like intense, like business, millionaires. It's more like, you know, I like this. It's
just, you know, just a normal conversation, share some ideas and kind of see what people are thinking and what they think of the topics. Really like the structure.
Yeah. And I'll be uploading a lot of I'm uploading, dude, if I tint 7 cars in a day, I'm filming all 7, uploading all 7. Like maybe like 3 episodes. As long as they're not repetitive, right? If I have a Honda 2021 Honda Accord, I'm just going to repost it. But until I have finished that database, but I said, I don't know. I saw Gary Vee talk about it. He said that it doesn't matter. Like if you post 15 times a day, he's like, there's so many people in the world. Like, what are you worried about your 8,000 subscribers? You know? Like, so definitely
just post.
Yeah. So we're going to be posting. And I'm excited to see where we are at the end of the year, and all of it is business. So, you know, like as of right now, it's business content and it's staying like that. And the focus, I guess, for me is automotive, but I'm sure there's a lot of detailers and people who are interested in business too. I would be interested. So yeah, guys. And I will have all this again on, I'll have all the links on Spotify and iTunes and the videos. And I got to update all the other videos so people can listen to it outside of YouTube as well. But okay, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Sweet.